Welcome to the New Heights Show on Education. I'm Pamela Clark, founder and director of the New Heights Educational Group, and I'm here with David Smith, the founder of Silicon Valley High School, who has helped us get these podcasts produced and delivered to you.
Yes, Pamela, when we saw the great things that you and your army of volunteers were achieving at New Heights, we wanted to get involved. We're happy to work with you to leverage the internet and make quality education accessible and affordable to everyone, everywhere.
Thank you, David. We appreciate Silicon Valley High School helping us to get these podcasts out to the hundreds of thousands of listeners from all over the world. So I hope you enjoy the show.
This week's episode, we will discuss education reform on mission.
Hello, everyone. This is Danielle Washington coming to you live from Ms. Buffie Williams' office. Just sitting around thinking about life and trying to become better people tonight, so check us out. Welcome back. You're on the air with Buffie Williams, and you have been listening to the New Heights Show on Education. We have been discussing the show's purpose on mission.
Good evening. This is your host, Buffie Williams, and you're listening to the New Heights Educational Group, the New Heights Show on Education. Tonight's topic is school safety. And on last week, just to recap, we discussed bullying experiences in schools and anti-bullying initiatives within the K through 12 levels. But tonight, I want to delve a little bit into your thoughts on school safety. I want you to call me at 917-948-7542 if you have any comments, or you can also leave your comments on Spreaker. Again, that number is 917-948-7542, and let me know your thoughts on school safety. And I want you to remember that my fellow New Heights host Erica Hansen airs Thursdays at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. There was a quote that was listed. I know that on our past shows that we've been sometimes adding quotes to some of the episodes, and one quote that was on the Department of Education's website under the Federal Commission on School Safety was by our current president, Donald Trump. And it did resonate with me. It says that every child deserves to grow up in a safe community surrounded by a loving family and to have a future filled with hope, with opportunity, and with hope. And that's essentially what we're talking about here today and every night as we talk about education reform and how it relates to the current situation of education and how education reform is changing in multiple ways. And there are so many different avenues in which we can go into with education reform and how we feel best it will benefit the students most of all, because, we think about what has been the impetus for the increase in school violence. Like, what is the velocity of the speed at which violence has been increasing within the school systems? One of the things that I know that has changed that is definitely different from the past is that now, because of school safety and school safety issues and recent mass shootings in history, we have different exercises that we have in school systems, and we also have what's known as active shooter drills in schools. And that's a direct outcome of kind of what we've had to deal with in the past. It's kind of a result of all of the symptoms that we've been having in the school shootings and kind of a necessity for schools. And I know one of the things that was a topic for discussion was information sharing among law enforcement and the schools, because until Columbine, a lot of these things had not been actively addressed. So I know that schools are probably concerned about privacy and if they're breaching confidentiality, if they suspect that a student may be dangerous. But I know that we have come a long way since Columbine in that the information sharing has improved between the school systems and law enforcement, and also legislation by Attorney General. The Attorney General has put in place a policy regarding schools being allowed to share that information if they feel like there's a direct threat of danger to students. And so that's one positive thing that has come from this type of education reform as it relates to school safety. But I know that a lot of them target three main things. One is school resilience. If something tragic does happen in a school, do we have the tools and the resources necessary in order to kind of come back from that in a way that nothing will ever be the same? But can we provide the right resources so that students can get the assistance they need, as well as the students, not only the students, but the teachers and the staff and all of the support staff there at the school. And so we're looking at school resilience, and then also departmental and institutional readiness. How prepared are we for active shooter drills if something were to take place? Are we doing these drills so that if an intruder is in the school, or if something happens, are we readily prepared to implement that strategy? And then also individual preparedness, because, you want to make sure that your teachers are well informed as to what the procedures are. The students are informed. So, and if you have any school security, which most schools do now, are they prepared? And so we always want to we always want to look at, are our students in a quality learning environment that supports healthy development, right? And so we're talking about school safety, but we have anywhere from, pre-K programs. I know here in my community here in Troy, Alabama, we have, pre-K programs. One that really sticks out for me is the Christian Love Center, that does, excellent work in working with our young people, as well as other pre-K programs in the county and city across the globe. We do things that we hope will instill in students, character education, and also getting them to a place where they're able to express, what they're feeling, also having in-house resources so that they do feel like they're threatened, that they feel comfortable going to administration and also going to the counselors there at the school. And so we want to make sure that that's a safe environment for our children, and we want to make sure that we're preparing them for, any tragedy that may happen. But with all of that said, again, what are we doing to change education and education reform? And I know the U.S. Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, who's been I think in that particular position since 2017, and she has led a commission on school safety, and she was charged by the president, of course, to produce actionable recommendations for students in school safety. And, in her efforts to do that, she looked at the effectiveness of the school infrastructure, the minimum age for firearm purchases, emotional support systems within schools, and also the impact of video games and media on violence as far as students were concerned. And so with all of these variations, the commission kind of voted on, and if you want to know my resource, it's the Department of Education. But all of the variations were taken into account. So like school size, school structure, the geographic location of the schools, and all these final recommendations were put forth by the commission. And in an effort to do that, they had commission meetings, of course, and they also had listening sessions where they brought experts in and people who had actually experienced these tragedies firsthand. And so they also did field visits and did corresponding meetings with students and counselors, school security, administrators, law enforcement, everyone who's a major stakeholder, mental health professionals, school counselors, of course. And then the commission also asked that if the public has recommendations that they would like to share with the Federal Commission on School Safety's team, that they can email, the public can email them at safety, www.safety@ed.gov. And so I encourage you to not only let me know, but also let the ones who actually have the power to make change within the education system know, like the Federal Commission on School Safety and our U.S. Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, know, kind of what thoughts that you may have that may improve school safety for our children. And so with that said, I kind of want you to think about it during the break. And at this time, we're going to take a brief pause and listen to a word from our sponsors. But we're talking about school safety and what can we do to assist the Department of Education and assist our schools in making sure that our schools are safe. And we will be back in a moment.
Right now, you might be struggling through your classes or even failing them. You might be worried that you may not finish high school. There might have even been a thought that you may not be smart enough. Well, the New Heights Educational Group begs to differ. We not only think you are smart enough, but with our help, you will complete your high school diploma. The New Heights Educational Group strives to improve your academic success through its tutoring services. To learn more, please visit newheightseducation.org and contact us. New Heights Educational Group, educational resources to help reach your goals.
This podcast is brought to you by Silicon Valley High School, the world's fastest growing, video-based, self-paced, teacher-supported, fully accredited online school that's recommended by more than 96% of students. Take individual courses at just $95 each, or earn your high school diploma at any age. Check us out at svhs.co.
Welcome back. This is your host, Buffie Williams, and you are listening to the New Heights Educational Group, the New Heights Show on Education. And tonight we're discussing the topic of school safety. And before the break, I spoke about the Federal Commission on School Safety, and I want to let you all know out there who actually is on the commission, because I failed to do that before the break. So I talked about, of course, who is the chair, our Betsy DeVos, who is the U.S. Secretary of Education, also the former and acting Attorney General for the United States, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the former Secretary of Homeland Security, are all a part of this commission. And they have talked with the community as well as stakeholders within the field of education to see what we as a community, as a nation, can do about school safety and policy. And